In this video, I will be unboxing a brick of the booster packs for the Icons of the Realms Monster Menagerie III series of miniatures that I have recently purchased. While I have been waiting on a brick of the Volo and Mordenkainen's Foes booster packs, I decided to get my hands on a set of these because this is also a set that is highly useful for several campaigns that I plan on putting players through. But I must also pass on a little bit of a warning. These miniatures are meant for people older than 14. So if you have small children or pets that like to get into small things, be very careful because these things are considered a choking hazard. And I do apologize for the glare on this side here. Unfortunately, I don't have a whole lot of room in this space to be able to push that light back further so that it doesn't show up there, but that won't be there long. Once I start opening up these boxes, that should go away. If you're not already aware, the way a booster set works is that it contains up to 4 miniatures specific to the collection in question. In this case, it's going to be a mixture of creatures from the Monsters Manual and a couple of other supplements. All of these miniatures are pre-painted, and each box will contain a random assortment of miniatures that range from tiny through to large, although in this particular series, they do include huge. Generally, there will be 3 miniatures that can vary from tiny through to medium sizes, although this one might include a couple of large ones in that place. But in addition to that, these ones can also include a huge creature in place of the large creature. And if you were to compare the sizing of this particular box with the Volo and Mordenkainen's Foes box, you can see that there is actually a big difference in the overall size of that particular box. I'm really looking forward to getting into seeing what these miniatures look like, so let's go through the process and get started, and I hope you enjoy this as much as I do. So I'm going to start by opening up each of the booster boxes one at a time here, and then we'll go through and do a quick review of each of the modules. But before I actually open up this box, this particular set, once again, has a very nice illustration on the front and the top of the box, and I love this kind of illustration. Now, I'm noticing that in the case of this particular box, something in here is rolling around, so that tells me something popped out of possibly its holder, and there's a bit of weight in this one, so it might be one of the larger or huge creatures that is rolling around. On the back, once again, there are 44 creatures that you can collect, or 44 miniatures that you can collect. And you can see some examples on both sides here. And it gives you an idea as to what to expect when you get inside. Alright, let's see what is going on here. Now, I apologize for any meowing that you're hearing in the background. My cat has decided to get involved in this particular process now. Yeah, okay, so I have something fairly large in there bouncing around. So I'm going to try to get this out without damaging it, if I can. And it seems to have snapped off the stand that it is supposed to be on. So that would be a hill giant. Well, that's unfortunate. That is actually the first time I've seen something come off of its stand. Now, I might be able to potentially glue that back into place. There are a couple of spokes there, and it does look like it's fairly consistent, so I may be able to repair that. I'm not overly worried. But let's get this stand out. And then just set this back in the box there. Alright. So, let's have a look here. Okay, so it does look like there's a little bit of a difference between the right foot and the left foot for being able to reattach it, so I might have to come up with something and deal with that. But let's take a look at what we've got in the 3 pouches here. Okay, that is a Gnoll flesh gnawer. Fairly good detail there. Okay. And that, by the way, was a hill giant, the big one. So that's an example of one of the huge creatures that you can get in this particular set. Now this looks a little interesting. Okay, so this is a Tiefling Rogue. So you can get NPC characters in each of these kits. They're not necessarily classified as a monster, but they can be used to represent NPCs that your parties might get involved in or have to deal with. Alright, let's take a look here. This one was stuffed in there pretty good. Alright, set that over there, and this is going to be a vampire spawn. So we'll get into a little bit more detail about these figurines as we go. Okay, so I'm just going to set these over here so that I know which box these came out of, because there's going to be 8 of them, so... Alright, let's open up the next one. This one does not seem to be rattling around, so whatever's in here has definitely stayed put. Alright. There we go. Ooh. Nice. Okay. Set that there. Get these guys out of the way, and this is an Empyrean. Man, this thing is big. Look at that hammer. Holy crow. Sorry, just 1 second here. Trying to get the thing back in the box there. That is pretty dang big. So that's the Empyrean. And look at the clarity on the paint and the detail there. This actually dwarfs the hill giant by quite a bit. Wow, that is insane. Alright, let's see what I can get here. Now, there is a chance that I will get some duplicates, and that is perfectly fine. When it comes to a lot of these figurines here, several of them could be useful, meaning that if you have multiples of, say, a Cambion, that could be very useful in allowing you to be able to put a higher level party through a swarm of Cambions if you have enough figurines, or through a group of them. So having multiples is not going to be an issue here. Alright. So what have we got here? We have a Mezzoloth, which... Holy crow, that looks weird. I'm not sure if that's broken off or not. I don't see anything in the bag. Or whether that is normal. I'll have to go take a look and see if that is actually normal, because I'm kind of curious, if that's got a claw, why doesn't that one? And that could just be a defect, but in any event, this could represent, if that is in fact a missing bit there, that doesn't really much matter, because you could use that to represent a creature that has already taken damage. And this is a Gray Slaad. Wow, the level of detail here is impressive. Alright, take a look at that one in a bit. And we have a Nilbog. Slightly bent mace, but not as badly as I've seen in some cases, and wow, the level of detail on that cape. Actually, that's a, oh yeah, that's a mini cape back there. Okay, I'm going to open up the next box here. Alright, let's open this guy up. Okay. Now I generally try to open these up this way because usually the large piece will not have fallen out or taken any level of damage in relation to the bits that you will find in the box. And it prevents these from falling on the floor and breaking as a result, because they're just simply stuffed into the plastic sheath here. So this is a Goblin Hucker. Oh my. That is got quite a bit of detail there. Okay. So, look at that. That is just impressive. Oh, there's a goblin there. This looks like it might be an ogre. But combined, they make a Goblin Hucker. In fact, there's another goblin up there that's being thrown. So it shouldn't be Hucker, it should be Chucker. But anyway. Play on words, I guess. Alright, just set that guy there for now. And let's have a look at the little villains. Oh, come on. There we go. And let's get this open as well. I'm trying to open these all up fairly quickly so that I can keep this video from being too long. Alright, so we have a human bard. Quite a bit of detail in the character. Nice hair. Interesting guitar. Although I would suppose that would be a silver lute in some way, shape, or form. But we'll get into that in a bit. Oops. You stay there. What the heck is this? This would be a Magma Mephit. And I think this is one of the few things I've already gotten, because I did get one box prior, last year, prior to me getting this booster set. So this will help round out what I currently have. The detail on that is insane. Set that there, and then we have a goblin. So it gives you an idea as to show you the overall quote-unquote perspective on the size of a goblin, or what people expect the size difference to be. Okay, I'm just setting them aside, and we'll go over each of these in closer detail when I can zoom in and get a better look at them. Okay. Let's see here. There. Okay, so this is definitely containing mostly huge creatures. Alright, this one's going to be a Fire Giant Dreadnought. And I think I'd gotten one prior, but this might be the variant that I've been looking for. Getting these out can sometimes be a little bit problematic. There we go. Alright, so that is insane, and these move a little bit, so that's kind of cool. The level of detail here. Mostly metal, but that's to be expected with a fire giant. And man, that's insane, the detail there. Well, once again, we'll get into a little bit more of a close-up shot for you here a little bit later on in the video once I've got everything open. Ooh, my. Okay, this one might be a little bit hard to see on the camera because it has a clear portion to it. Ah, come on. There we go. Ah, two-headed dog. So we have a death dog with two heads. Nice. That's a lot of purple. That's a whip and a hook, and this is a Kuo-Toa. So if you're ever curious about what those creatures look like in relation to Out of the Abyss, this is what a Kuo-Toa looks like. And this is a gazer, so it's a little tiny beholder, essentially. Looks like a hand, four-fingered hand stuffed on a hole, but you can see the clear bit here, or you might not be able to. I'm not sure if it comes through. There, I'll try to tilt it so that the base there shows it, but it's literally floating above the ground, essentially, is what that's supposed to be doing. So that is now 4 kits open. Let's open up number 5. Oh my, that's a lot of green. Alright, I'm running out of room on my table here. Wow. This is a frost giant. Alright. I always thought they were a little bit bluer, but that's fine. Wow, the detail here, that is awesome. Although the hammer is a little bit bent. Not really, might be able to straighten out, but I don't want to do any damage to it. It's kind of funny how flat the head is here in this particular case, but that might be just because of the way that the helmet is on the head. And the extra units of armor there is insane. Alright, let's have a look here. Alright, good. So I did get something here that allows me to show a little bit of variety. Alright, so you might think at first that I've got some doubling here happening, for example, in relation to this particular one, the Gray Slaad. Oops. But if you compare the one that I got earlier with the one that I have now, while their positioning might be the same, this one has something coming out of its hand, whereas this one does not. Everything else about it is pretty close to similar positioning and coloring, but you can also see that there's a variety. So this one is 21B, whereas this one is 21A, although, oh no, okay, thought it was looking a little fuzzy there for a second. But this is something that this kit does have, and I was hoping to show one on here. And now in this particular case, I did get a similar, but again, goblins, you can always have a horde of goblins, so it's not that big of an issue. So yeah, this is both number 6. But that's perfectly fine. More goblins, the better. Makes it a little bit more realistic. Now, the other one that you would initially think would be the same is that we got a Mud Mephit here and a Magma Mephit. So there is a difference here. One is 2B, the other is 2A. So this is 2A, this is 2B. So there is a bit of a difference there. So we didn't get any duplication there, but we did get the variety that you can potentially get. So let's open up the next one. Oops. Okay. Oops. Okay. So this is impressive. Let's get this guy out. There we go. Just set this back in here so that I can get at it later. Okay, so this is a stone giant. So I pretty much have the gamut of the giants at this point. That is impressive. A little bit of a bend here in the halberd. Yeah, that blade shouldn't bend that way, but that's okay. He's got some wheels, ship spokes from the looks of it, and anchors here. So this is a Dreamwalker. That's impressive. All right, and again, I'll show a little bit more detail about the miniature here once I get them all out, and then I'll zoom in. Oops, with the camera. Okay, there we go. And this one is another flying creature of some kind, from the looks. So flying creatures you'll typically have represented, oops, can't pick it up, with the clear plastic keeping the object above the overall platform itself. And what is this? This is a Stirge. So to give you an idea as to how large a Stirge is, here is a goblin. So that would be a very, very tiny creature. But the level of detail there is impressive. They've even got the bit that sticks into the body. I can't remember the name of it right now. It happened to me last Friday too, while I was trying to describe what it is. And this guy is a Quadrone with a bow and a slightly closed eye. Okay, and this would be a kobold with a very curved bent sword. That's the only thing I don't like about what can happen with these things, but I think that's normal for the overall production of these things. I don't know if it bends during cooling or whether it bends because of the packaging. I just don't know. This guy has a little bit of a backpack on him. So we'll take another look at that here in a minute. Oops, I gotta move these over so that I don't confuse them with the next kits. So we got 2 left. Alright, let's go ahead and cut this open. And if you squeeze the box a little bit on the front and the back, you'll find that the area where the tape is generally lifts a little bit to be able to get the knife in there, or whatever you happen to be using for cutting the thing open. Alright, so let's have a look at this guy. So this is a Mouth of Grolantor. I have no idea what that is. Well, that would be a family member getting home. Alright. Oh wow, that is disgusting. He's holding something that is red there. Oops, sorry. He's holding something that is red there in both hands and is eating them from the looks. A little bit of a bulge there and some chains in back. It's quite impressive, the level of detail there, although I'm not entirely certain why there's some paint here that is green. No, okay. Set that aside. And let's dig into the next one here. This might be... Okay. Alright, so I just went ahead and unboxed those. And this is impressive. This is a Kraken Priest, which is impressive with these legs. But we'll get into a little bit more detail on that when I show the zoomed in version of the character. We get another Kuo-Toa. This one is number 8. But it has its... I don't know if that's supposed to be flexible or not. To be honest, it's a grappler, I think. Or some form of grappling thing that goes around the neck, but I don't think it bends like that. But anyway, and then we have a Winged Kobold, which seems to be leaning quite a bit on the platform. So I don't know whether... Oh yeah, I suppose it could be looking like it either just took off or is landing. Alright, so we have one more to open. Now let's have a look. Oh. Alright. Whew. Yeah, sometimes the paint fumes can be a little strong. But that's fine. They eventually go away. Alright, so let's get this guy out. Another frost giant, but it's a variety. So if we took a look at the first one, he has an axe. A bent axe, but an axe. Whereas this one has a bent sword. And it's number 31 and 32. So that's good to have both varieties here, because now I can put my players through a little bit of frost giant run through, if you will. Okay, so you go back there. You go there for now. Let's take a look at the last three little tiny guys, and then I will go through each set and zoom in, or it's not each set, but each figurine, and zoom in for you so that you can get a little bit more in the way of detail. What I will most likely do is go through the big creatures first so that I can have a consistent zoom level, and then go through the smaller ones once I've got those out of the way. And again, just to keep a consistent zoom level. So this is the Nameless One. I can't recall the significance of the Nameless One. I don't know if it's a unique person or not within the D&D world. I can't recall. But he's wielding a battle axe. Got a couple of pouches and some detail there that we'll get into. I have, what is this? Something with a translucent head. Magmin, number 1. Tiny creature, all red. That is impressive. And then we have another Winged Kobold. Yep, number 14, whereas the other guy was number 14. So I technically have a variety here. One that's mashed in a little bit and one that's not. Even though it's not a variety, but that's fine. You can never have enough kobolds too. Alright, so let me go ahead and zoom in enough to be able to get a good visual on the larger ones, and then we'll go take a look at those in greater detail. So I'm going to start off with the frost giant that we just got to. And as you can see, once again, it's a greenish turquoise color to the paint there. Definitely furs for the clothing. Some metal braces there. Some shoulder pauldrons, I believe that's what they're called. Nice little bandolier here. Helmet and a slightly bent sword. That's really the only complaint I have about them, is that the weapons can sometimes be bent. In all other bits, everything looks pretty good. We've got some design work on the actual belt there. That looks like it might be a magical belt for the giants. Same with the bracers on either side. There's quite a bit of detail in the handle of this particular sword, which is good. And the thing has quite a bit of weight. I mean, it's probably twice again the weight of the old He-Man figurines from the early 80s, if you ever remember what those things were. And this one would be number 32. Now, if we compare that with the other giant, pretty much everything is similar. Same coloring, slightly different. Nope, same detail on the belt here. Same bandolier. Everything else is the same. It looks like just the weapon is actually different here. I apologize if I'm going off screen. I'm losing track of where my center post here is. A little bit of scratching here down at the bottom on the horn, but that could just be from the placement, or they had an issue during painting. Frost Giant number 31 is what this one is. And man, that is going to be impressive when you compare the little tiny figurine here. The level of detail there is insane. But interesting structure on that axe. I haven't seen many that have had that kind of design there. Nice. So this is the Stone Giant Dreamwalker. It looks like it has a variety. And its weapon is definitely bent here along the end of the halberd. And it just has a curve overall. But again, there looks like some different animal furs than what the previous giant was. And the detail on the face, it's like smashed together, but I believe that is actually how that creature has been described in the reference material. But it looks like they have ship-related paraphernalia strewn about the overall body. So they have the anchors here. They have a couple of ship wheels here. Interesting. I'm wondering if there was something here or if that's just a flap from that. Pretty good detail. Yeah, even like how they represent that little wheel there in the shoulder. Look like you got jammed in there. A little bit of a separation on the head there. But overall, and it looks like the paint is sort of scuffing off a little bit. But I read that more as a bit of a dirty wash on the actual creature to give it a little bit of an unclean appearance. No, definitely interesting quality on the character. I like it. And it looks like this one might be female. Just the way that sash is positioned there. Could be wrong. I don't know if there's a gender involved here. But now that I think about it, I definitely see a little bit more of an effeminate feature set here in the face. So that could be what it is. No, nice detail here. The only disappointment here I have is the bend in the halberd. So the next one is the Mouth of Grolantor, number 27. And this is the one that has a lot of green strewn about it, and I don't know the context for that, so I don't know if it's natural or not, or meant to portray something in reference to this particular creature. But man, look at the detail on the eating of this particular fruit or whatever it is that they're eating, and the mess that they're making as part of that process. They've definitely broken out of something. There's chains on the various feet here, and they're wearing some very not so flattering furs, I think, for some clothes here. But yeah, no, the level of detail. You can see the green that I'm referring to here. It's like a coppery look after it has weathered after a while. But no, and then there's some more fruit or whatever it is. Those look like pumpkins now that I think about it. Guess it loves pumpkins quite a bit. And slightly balding, but that's fine. No, definitely an impressive design on this particular creature. I would not want to run into this anywhere in person. And that is the Mouth of Grolantor. So let's move on to the next one. So this is the Fire Giant Dreadnought, 30 out of 45. And I have to support it a little bit here because there is actually a fair amount of weight in this particular model or miniature. These are a little bit loose, but not in the way that they're falling off. It's just there's a little bit of motion, if you will, when it comes to the arm. So don't be surprised about that. And it looks like they can move a little bit, but be careful. There's definitely some weathering that has occurred here with the rust effect. So the artist who painted this particular figurine did a pretty good job on that, although they did a really good job on getting in front too, because they've managed to paint the belt aspect without any issue. Now, having said that, it looks like the arms are attached after the fact. So I'm seeing some paint underneath the actual seam there, which means that they probably painted this creature, or this part of the creature first, before attaching the arms and then gluing everything together. But yeah, this thing probably weighs a good Geez, I don't know. Not quite a pound, but not by far. Yeah, and that is impressive with the level of detail here. You'd get the feeling that this is solid metal that you're looking at. So whoever painted this has definitely sold that effect to me. Compliments to that particular painter. Not sure if they'll ever see this video, but if they do, thank you, good job. I'm impressed with this one. Nice. Alright, let's take on another look at one of the other ones. So the next one we're going to take a look at here is the smaller of the huge creatures, and it's the Goblin Hucker, 43 of 45. And this is quite impressive. We have a goblin here that's about to be thrown. We have a goblin here that's directing, I think that's an ogre, to fling the goblin forward. There's definitely something on this goblin's head. Kind of reminds me of the dwarves. I can't remember what they were called in the R.A. Salvatore series that had spikes all over their armor. He's literally wearing a catapult on his back and shouldering a goblin in a seat here. How is that even being held in place? That is impressive. And then we have the flingers, if you will, or the chains attached to the catapult to fling forward. Quite a bit of protection here on the front, straps holding everything in, so maybe that's how it's held in. And quite a bit of detail in the ogre itself, although there's some fingerprints there, but that's fine. The way that fingerprint is positioned right now just makes it look like it's gotten into a bit of dirt. Sort of like some ash or, soot or something that's come down from here, or grease maybe. Well, that's definitely a very interesting amount of detail here on the face. They've got the eyes, the mouth is painted in, teeth separate, ears are even painted in quite nicely. Yeah, I like this one. This is a pretty good one, and you can really see the musculature on the figurine. So compliments to the painter that did this model as well. The only thing questionable obviously is the fingerprint, but that's just a minor thing. No, pretty good. So I'm going to save the biggest of them for the last of the giant ones. And this is going to be the Hill Giant 28A, and my only disappointment is that it had broken off of the stand here. I may be able to repair that with a little bit of glue, but I can see why it snapped off a bit. The foot here is actually not positioned in a way where you can get both of these lined up in any way, shape, or form. So the post looks to have been in the wrong spot, and just under tension it snapped off. So that's relatively minor. I could potentially file that down and sort of move something over here and put another post over here to fix that. But we may not have to worry too much about that. Nice big backpack on here carrying its boulders that it would be throwing. It's wearing some clothes, a large belt pouch here, and a bent stone spear that has a very large stone tip on it, and quite a bit of detail in the actual face, so it's definitely yelling at something or screaming at something. But the short stumpy legs is insane. I didn't realize that the Hill Giants were that, Hill Giants were that stumpy when it came to their feet. And this is definitely a figurine that's made up of multiple parts. You can see the seam here. And on this case, this one didn't necessarily seat right at the back here, but it's not in any threat of falling off, so I'm not too worried about that. And it won't stand on its own because of actually it will if you lean it forward, but it won't if you lean it backward. So hopefully you saw that on camera. So if I lean it forward, it will stand, but if it leans backward in any way, shape, or form, it won't. Otherwise, pretty good detail on this one. So my only disappointment is that it had separated from its stand. And finally, it's the big one, the Empyrean, number 25B. So I'm not sure if there's a variety with this one or not. But the detail here is absolutely insane. It's a smooth gray for most of the flesh, but there's a lot of detail in the armor and the sandals here. Kind of reminds me of a Roman feel. And interesting green coloring here and texture on the I guess it's called a skirt. I don't know. But the detail on the face is insane. Interesting hair painting. The guy did a really good job on that. Got some good eyebrows in there. Facial expression. Even they got the teeth all white. It's kind of hard to see, but they definitely got the teeth white as well. And then there's the hammer here. It's a little bent, but the level of detail that's on the handle and the level of detail on the hammer itself is pretty good. I'm really happy with how that looks. It's a big, I want to say mithril maybe. Maybe a mithril hammer. A little bit of a seam here on the arm, but as long as you don't jostle it, I mean, it's firm. It's not going anywhere. And again, this thing weighs almost as much as the other ones. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, no, this is definitely very well done. No fingerprints. And they even got a little bit of the pleat here in the skirt shown. That's impressive. Excellent job on that one. So with the smaller ones, I am literally going to start right at the beginning with the first box that we opened up here. So the first one that I want to look at here is the Vampire Spawn 10B. There's a lot of detail in this particular figurine here. They've got some blood on the claws or fingernails. Nope, that would be blood on the fingers there, not finger paint. Interesting design on the skirt here. Quite a bit of detail in the face, although, yeah, I can see that. Kind of hard to see. It looks like they tried to represent some fangs on that, but I don't know if Vampire Spawn actually have fangs. But no, it looks like this could be taken directly out of Ravenloft with the level of detail that's here. Oh, I like that. All right. And the next one is going to be the Gnoll Flesh Gnawer, number 16 of 45. And the level of detail here is excellent as well. We've got the Gnoll face, the typical canine-like appearance here. The weapon in this particular case is straight, which is good, the sword. And obviously the flail is curved, but that's to be expected. That's what flails do. Although the handle is a little bit bent, but that could just be sold easily that the guy used a bent piece of metal to do that. A lot of hair around the back here to represent the canine structure. And there's some, there's some polka dots, if you will, on the side here, kind of representing the jackal tribe or something, I don't know. Maybe it represents some form of jackal. And don't know if you're going to see it on camera, but there's literally a hand on the belt here, like an arm. They've got it strapped to the belt. That's impressive. Maybe that's their meal for later on. And it looks like they might be wearing some either copper or brass armor of some kind, and they've got some bone armor here in the chest plate. But yeah, despite the wiriness of the canine aspect here, they've definitely got some detail in this figurine. I like that one. And then we come to the Tiefling Rogue, so 35A. And this one happens to have a tail. Not all Tieflings do. And in this particular case, the sheath here is straight. And it looks like it has a sword in it, so it's not related to the sword that they're currently wielding, that I can see. And this looks more like it's a curved dagger, which is excellent because from a vertical perspective it's straight, but from a top down it looks like it's definitely curved. to represent that. And they're all in black armor, and it looks like they've been painted with a reddish skin, although it looks like a couple of fingers could be missing on this figurine here. Yeah, it looks like the middle finger has gone missing in some way. But they do have a representation of the horns here, and a very good structure to the cape and the covering of the cape. A little bit of dark here, but nothing major. That looks more like it's, again, some wash intended to add a little bit of shadow and effect to the overall figurine. Overall, I like this one. Okay, so for the next one, we have the Mezzoloth, 13 of 45. Purple carapace there with some very good design on the eyes here in mandibles. Looks like their teeth are kind of purple, but I'm not sure if that's normal or not. Trident is slightly bent, but only slightly, and it looks to be fairly firmly attached to the stand in this particular case. The only concern I have is that we have two claws here, one here. This looks like the hand. Not sure if that's a mechanical claw or like an extra hand that comes off, but this one looks like there is actually something that snapped off here. I don't know if that's normal or whether it is something that happened during shipping or during the painting phase. I can't see any piece in any of the plastic bag there to represent that it fell off during post-packaging, if you will. And there's quite a bit of detail here in the back where the layering of the carapace comes down here. And pretty good detail overall, but it definitely looks like something might be missing there. Then we have the little tiny Nilbog, 15 of 45, carrying a slightly bent mace that looks like it's made out of the head of something. Quite a bit of detail on this one too. For the size of the character, you can actually clearly make out the face and the smile on the Nilbog. They've got some silver somethings on the end of their hat here that are flanneling about as they move about. And everything else is pretty much purple. It looks like they have some silver jewelry attached to the end of those as well. But no, pretty good detail on this one as well. I like this one. Yep. And then we have the first variant of the Gray Slaad, 21B. First variant in the way that I unboxed anyway. And this one is definitely sinister looking for sure. I mean, you've got a very nasty look here on the face. Some good paint on the eyes there to indicate the eyes, what direction they're looking. You've got the spikes out of the back there. They look to be wearing some bracers. And I have no idea what spell this might actually be. Maybe an acid spell or something. But he's definitely spitting something out or throwing something out. And I don't know whether those are, if they get jabbed into somebody, because they've got some fingers here, so I don't know what these two are, unless they're just, no, they look like they're attached to the creature. Yeah, that's quite a bit of detail. The coloring on the creature is just, oh wow. Makes it look really nice. Definitely not something I'd want to meet in person. Alright, so we're going to take a look at the next one here. So we have the Human Bard, 19B, so there might be a variety here. This one happens to have a silver lute, or lyre. I can't remember whether the lyre is the bigger one or the smaller one. A lot of detail in the face here. There's definitely some lipstick on. Look like they even tried to put on some mascara on this one. Purple robes. You can clearly see a distinction here on the robes. Dark color pants. Nice flare out on the cloak and the hair moving with it. Yeah, they look like they're having fun singing, although this hand seems to be a little bit curled in. Oh no, that they just got a little bit of the overpaint, so they're probably wearing gloves on this hand or something. But still, pretty good detail on this. So whoever painted this, he did a good job. And a little bit of a pout there. Next we have the Magma Mephit 2A. It's insane detail on this for what we have. I mean, we've got the yellowish eyes and some glow coming out of the ears and a little bit on the chest here. It's really tiny, very hard for me to hold. We got some dirt and grime on the wings, holes in the wings to represent the I don't know, the devil aspect of it. And a lot of detail in the actual little figurine itself. I like this, and one heck of a snout there. No, pretty good. I like that one. Then we have our Goblin, the first of our duplicate, but I'm actually impressed we only got 2 of them. I've had one booster where I've received 4 of the same piece out of it, but that's fine. They were also goblins, so I now have probably about 8 goblins. A lot of detail in this one. Interesting coloring on this. I'm not sure if that's... yeah, that looks like he's holding a torch, now that I think about it. A lot of detail in the face. They've got the hair all colored in. There's a little bit of a ponytail in the back there. Some bracers. Good belt. Not really a whole lot in the way of paint. In places it shouldn't be here. It's all pretty tight. And whoever did this really likes those silver balls on the end of their capes. Yeah, no, pretty good. So the next one we're going to look at here is the Kuo-Toa Whip. And this is in fact a whip. So having it be curled like this is normal, although it's a little bit small for a whip, but I understand the sizing here in relation to this particular weapon in relation to the character, so it's very difficult to represent a whip of regular size in relation to something this particular size in a figurine. And then they also have this hook, which seems to loop to his belt in some way, shape, or form. Interesting armor there, and some pretty good detail on the actual Kuo-Toa itself, including a bandolier here, and some bracers, although he appears to be missing the bracer here. So it looks like the bracer is just on the one arm. Pretty good detail though. Yep, I like that one. Now this is going to be the hardest one to show on camera, so hopefully it comes through okay. And it's called a Gazer, and it's number 4 out of 45. And literally it's a very tiny creature that happens to have a mouth, some eyes, and additional eye stalks here. It's really meant to be a guardian of some kind. And hopefully I got that into the shot. But as you can see, it's on a clear stand here, representing that it is a flying creature of some kind. Pretty good detail though on figurine this particular size. And then finally, we have the Death Dog. Although we're not done all of the characters, this is literally our halfway mark. And it has 2 heads, some pretty good detail here. Excellent detail on the fur. And someone applied the wash quite well on this one. And then we've got the mane here. Doesn't appear to be anything missing actually. Nope, okay, that one has it. So I thought for a second that the teeth had gone missing, but they're there. Oh, I like this one as well. Pretty good detail, so good job for whoever created this one. Next, I think I might be out of order at this point, but we have the Magmin, number 1 out of 45. And this one is going to be very difficult to show on camera as well. It's mostly the same shade of maroon or red, with the exception of the crown here, which is clear in color. I don't know enough about the creature whether that's normal or not. There's a little bit of black up here, but that looks like it was mostly the wash that was added to it. There is a little bit of a wash added to it in order to give it a bit of a shadowing effect, and it looks pretty good. The facial features look pretty good. But yeah, no, pretty good character from the looks. Quite a bit of detail on that miniature. Then we have the Winged Kobold, number 14 of 45. And this one is quite detailed in reference to the wings themselves. You can see that there's a bit of a bone structure there that's been highlighted. This one's wearing a green sash. Also looks like it's wearing a kilt of some kind. And the sword, it's a little bit curved, but not as badly as it could have been. And the detail on the back of the wings is impressive as well, same with the tail. A little bit of a blip there on the tail, but nothing major. And the canine facial structures are there. It's a bit tricky to see them, but they are in fact there. But excellent detail there. And then finally we have the Nameless One. 40 of 45 from these three. And there's a lot of detail on this particular character, although it looks like some of the black was added to the shoulders here, and it doesn't look like that's intentional. So it looks like some of the paint either rubbed off or was thrown on there by accident. There is no black anywhere else except for on the hair here and the design of the belt buckle here and on the boots. So quite a bit of detail on the boots there. Well, I'm gonna have to go look up who this particular individual is. I don't know them that well, but excellent detail. Other than this little bit here, which I'm not certain if that's supposed to be there or not. Pretty good painting result here. Now the next batch here, we have this kobold, winged kobold, that is leaning forward quite a bit, and as we have seen, that might not actually be normal for this, but everything else about it is the same as the previous winged kobold. Level of detail and all of that. It just looks like it got pushed forward in reference to the actual platform. But I don't think that's an issue because you can make it look like this guy's actually taking off, leaning forward into the fight or starting to run up to get off the ground kind of thing. So I think that's okay. We have the normal Kuo-Toa, number 8 out of 45, with a very badly bent weapon if this isn't meant to be this way. I honestly don't know if it is or not. I'm pretty certain this is meant to represent a solid stick. So it sucks that if this isn't meant to be bent, that it did get bent that badly. The hook, however, is looking in pretty good condition, and it seems to attach at the same place on its belt as it did on the other one. And the level of detail for the rest of it, oh, this one seems to have 2 bandoliers, not just one. So there is a bit of a difference there. Sorry, that's not the bandolier, that's the additional rope around it. There's a bit of a pouch here as well. And pretty good purple coloring, a little bit of overage on the darker black here, but otherwise a pretty decent job on the paint. Quite a bit of detail on the character. I like that one. This one is just absolutely impressive. The Kraken Priest, 12 of 45. Just look at the detail on the priest itself. It's got all of these little, I wouldn't call them mandibles, but sort of appendages that are there. There's 3 on each side. They're both blue, same with the skirt that the guy's wearing, or the dress that the guy's wearing, robes if you want to call it that. Quite a bit of detail in the muscular structure here, and I have no idea what these things coming out of it are. Maybe they're, I wouldn't call them mandibles, but like maybe feelers that you'd normally see like on an enema or something. Or an anime or whatever they're called. I can't remember what those sea creatures are called. Quite a bit of detail on the back there with the belt sash. The bracers look pretty good, and yeah, quite a bit of detail there. I'm impressed with the painting on this one. It doesn't look like there's anything misplaced when it comes to the paint here. And that looks like it's meant to be a design, that particular part of it there, because it looks like there's a creature painted on this individual's chest. Yeah, this is impressive. We're getting down there. We've only got 6 more figurines to go through. This is number 18. It is the Quadrone. And I love the detail on this bow here. And just in general, I mean, the facial expression here alone is pretty funny. I mean, you can see a monocle there. You've got the eye that's partially open, one that's fully closed, an expression in the face there. And it looks like a cuboid of some kind, but it happens to have wings. And is definitely a mechanical device of some kind. Interesting feat there. But pretty good detail in this one for something that's meant to be mechanical. A little bit of spray up here in the wings. I'm not sure if that's meant to show dirt or something, but other than that, I like the design of this one. And then there's this guy, the Stirge. So a Stirge pack generally comes in anything from 3 to 8, although I have seen more. Hopefully I'm getting this in the shot there so that you can actually see it. There's not a whole lot of features that you can make out. There's a bit of a slightly different coloring on the bottom than there is on the top. But the proboscis, or whatever that's called, is there, which is used to drain the blood of its victims. And otherwise there's detail ingrained in the actual figurine, the miniature, but it's hard for it to come out in the paint, I think, just due to the size of the figurine. But it's still pretty good for what they try to do. And it's very hard to represent something this small, so I can see that. But yeah, no, nice little Stirge there. Then we have the Kobold with the heavily curved sword. Pretty good design, nice little backpack on the back, some facial features there, and this is 5 of 45. A very bad curve in this particular sword though, and that's unfortunate, but what can you do? Nice little bracers there, quite a bit of detail. The Kobold's fairly consistently red, doesn't appear to have any paint out of place that I can see. In the wash, looks like it took fairly well, giving it enough of a shadow effect there. Not sure if there's a wash on the upper part here though, but there's definitely some down here. No, pretty good looking figurine. And the last three, we've already seen the little goblin here, 6 of 45. Nothing different on this one than the previous one. Whoever painted this pretty much was fairly consistent with the previous one that I can recall anyway. There's nothing out of order here. All the paint looks to be where it's supposed to be, and the wash looks to have settled in the right locations. So all in told, I can't complain about this one at all. It's pretty good. Second to last, we have the Mud Mephit. The wording's a little bit missing on the T there, but this is 2B. And same level of detail that was on the Magma Mephit, except it's all monotone with a brownish color as opposed to a sort of a maroon or reddish color. And there is some highlighting on the back of the wings here, a little bit on the back as well. And there is some facial features that are painted on there, giving you enough of an idea as to what it is that you're looking at. And some highlights down here. So, no, looks pretty good. This one's a pretty good one. And then the last, Gray Slaad 21A, which is the variant of the one that we first had that doesn't have the flame or whatever it is that's coming out of here. Everything else about it is the same. The paint quality is pretty good. It looks like it's got some pretty good facial structure here. There are teeth here, but they don't appear to be painted any different color than the skin color. All told, I'm happy with the way that this one came out. Oop, actually I did just notice something. It looks like there's a little bit of a paint drop that got just below the, on the stomach there, just underneath the chin. But other than that, everything else looks like it's pretty good paint quality. All told, I'm pretty happy with the set of figurines that I got out of this. A little disappointed about the hill giant that snapped off the stand, but I think I can fix that. A little bit of work might be able to do that, but otherwise everything looks pretty good. And I'm happy that I picked up this particular brick. I hope you enjoyed this particular video, and I don't know when my next unboxing will be, but it might be a bit before it comes in. I have a pre-order for one that's up and coming, and I also have a back order on a full brick of the Volos kit. But if that doesn't come in, I might go for another one. We'll see. There are a couple of sets that I haven't actually been able to buy enough figurines for, so might be able to go ahead and get a couple of others. But thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this particular video on Icons of the Realms Monster Menagerie III brick unboxing. Thank you. We'll see you in the next video.